equation of the tangent line. Okay, we want to write the equation of a tangent line. What two ingredients? A point and a slope. We're going to do U and V in a second, though. So, my point. What is the x value? 2. But my y value I find by plugging in where?
2 into
the original equation. Very good. So, I'm going to write f of 2 equals, I have 2 minus 1 times 3 times 2 squared minus 5. Ooh, and Ashton's learning PEMDAS right now. What do we do first? Parentheses, my 10-year-old. He got a 50 on it. I'm so upset. Honestly, boy. Yeah. Huh? Ashton.
Wait, so how do you have a math teacher?
That is why his dad agreed to that name, though. I told him I wanted to name him Spider with a Y. And he was like, I know it. Pregnant brain, your brain, ladies, if you ever get pregnant, it's just...
Spider?
Yeah, with a Y, though, okay? And then you could call him Spidey?
No. But then that's just setting him up for bullying.
Yeah, so anyway, thankfully...
But there's also an Audi Spider.
Yeah, baby daddy was like, no, we're not doing that. And I was like, come on, we can call him Spidey. And he was like, that's worse. So anyway, then I said Dalton. I think Dalton, and then he was like, no, that's a stupid name. I like Dalton. And then I was like, Ashton? And then he was like, I like Ashton Kutcher, so that's fine. And I was like, deal. That is a good name. I have an ex named Jeremy, though, so it has a bad taste in my mouth, you know? Jeremy's. All right, ready? 2 squared, what is it? 4 times 3 is? 12 minus 5 is? 1 times 7, y value is? 7. Okay, next I need a slope, and to take the slope, I need what rule? I need the product rule. Very good. So, my derivative, this is what we learned yesterday. You break your function up into 2 pieces. First piece is u, x minus 1. Second piece is 3x squared minus 5. So, you break your product up, take the derivative separately. So, derivative of x minus 1 is 1. Derivative of 3x squared minus 5 is v prime.
6x.
What about the 5? Good. Okay, then f prime of x equals, this is the product rule. Okay, hopefully you remember it from yesterday. Product rule, you do one diagonal plus the other diagonal. So we were doing this diagonal first. So it would be 6x times x minus 1 plus 1 times 3x squared minus 5. Then, if you wanted to not write the 1, nobody cares, that's fine. You can do it, not do it, up to you. Okay, from here, we're plugging in what x value? 2. So I have 6 times 2 here is 12. Then 2 minus 1 here is 1. Second term, I'm not going to write the 1 because we don't care about it. This is a 2. 2 squared is 4. Times 3 is 12. 12 minus 5 is 7. 12 times 1 is 12, plus 17, or plus 7 is 19. So I have my point 2, 7, I have my slope 19, then I write my equation, my tangent line from there. So it'd be y minus 7, 2, 7, 19 in the front, and then x minus 2. Easy. Okay. What if I wanted a perpendicular line? What would I do?
Yeah.
Yep, so 19 would become... Ooh, she's on it today! She spits straight mathematical flames, guys! Okay, there we go. You love it. Okay, so this is a tangent line, and then that's a perpendicular line. We see the difference? Okay, tangent, you keep the same slope. Perpendicular, you opposite reciprocal it. Okay, I think we are good to move on to quotient rule then. Okay? Bless you.
Maybe not. But yes. There's no control in art.
Got me.
Got it.
Got him.
She
Ready?
have graduated last year. I need art candy this year.
Okay, I'm gonna take it off. We're going on.
I'm so.
Oh wait, I was gonna do an example or two off homework 12. Homework? Get out your homework from yesterday?
I really am such a douche. I'm sorry. So she doesn't know what you do. You know what you do? Yeah. Not like the actual thing, but like the definition. So you know
Alright. We're gonna do number 1, part D. Okay, here we go. Number 1, part D. Here we go. Okay, what are we writing? Focus. Okay, homework 12 from yesterday. We're writing the equation of a tangent line to P of X. So what are the 2 ingredients we need? Okay, I'm going to do the point first. What's my X value? 0. To find the Y value, I need to plug into the original. Notice, though, that your original is a product. I do. Okay, so P of X is the product of F of X and cosine X. So when I plug in 0, I'm going to do F of 0 times cosine 0. Yeah? So write it down. Okay, so I'll have F of 0 times cosine 0. Okay, what is F of 0? Look at your chart. 2. Okay, then cosine 0 is? What? Yep. Okay, so I'm going to label it P of 0. And I'm going to do F of 0 times cosine 0. I'm plugging in right here. And then F of 0 in my chart, I see F of 0 is 2. So it'd be 2 times 1, which is 2. Okay, next I need my slope. In order to find slope, I need to take the derivative. So I'm going to put slope. And then I'm going to do the product rule. So P prime of X, U, V. Okay, what is the first part of my product? F of X. What's the second part?
Cosine X.
Cosine X. Okay, then find your derivatives. So U prime and V prime. U is F, U prime is?
Negative sine X. Negative sine X.
Okay, derivative of cosine is negative sine X. And then the derivative of F would just be called F prime, yeah? Okay, so we're going to write our derivative at X, then we're going to write our derivative at 0. So first we're doing this diagonal. F of X times negative sine X. I'm going to write that as negative F of X sine X just because I like the negative in the front, but you can put it wherever you want. Okay, then plus second diagonal, we're doing F prime times cosine. Okay, again, order doesn't really matter on product rule because you're multiplying and adding, and those are both commutative, if you remember that rule. Okay, from there, we're plugging in 0. So that'd be negative F of 0 times the sine of 0 plus F prime of 0 times the cosine of 0. Which of those is 0, though? Sine 0. So that means basically my whole sine 0, okay, is going to get crossed out and just be 0. So then for my second guy, F prime of 0, I'm using the chart. F prime of 0 is 2 times cosine of 0 is 1, so my slope is 2. Then from there, if my slope is 2, I have enough information to write the equation of my tangent line. So it'd be y minus 2, slope of 2, x minus 0. And that'd be your answer. Make sense? Okay, last one we're going to do off your homework, yes? Are you talking about from here? So I did 0 and then I went to the F prime column. So regular F is here, F prime is here, but you want to be in the column for X, or the row for X, and then go to the right column. Okay, last one we're going to do off this homework right now is number 3. Okay, number 3 has an extra step. So let's set it up first. What's my U? What's my V?
Square root of t and sine.
Okay, very good. So my U is going to be root t. I'm going to write that as t to the 1/2, yeah? Okay, so t is to the 1/2. Yes, that's a rewrite. And then v would just be sine t. So I take my equation, I split it up into my 2 pieces of my product. Okay, let's do v prime first. If v is sine, what's v prime? Okay, now, for my power, if it's a fraction, it works the same. I'm going to times the 1/2 down, but then I have to take away 1 from 1/2. What do I get? Negative 1/2. Very good. Okay, so let's write our product rule. So my original was called f of t. My derivative will be called f prime of t. And then I'm going to do this diagonal first. So I have t to the 1/2 times cosine t. Now, how could I change t to the 1/2? So root t cosine t. Is everybody good with that? Okay, now for my second half, look at this chunk right here. Okay, if I have a negative 1/2 power, where does that root t really belong? On the bottom with the 2. So what I'm going to do for this chunk right here, watch, is I'm going to have 1 over 2 root t. Everybody good with that? Okay, and then what was that multiplied with in its diagonal? Correct. I did it because of the negative 1/2. So the 1/2 makes it a square root, and the negative puts it on the bottom. Okay, everybody good to there? Okay, I'm going to rewrite this one more time. I'm going to combine this side into one big fraction. Here's why. Sine is just like sine over 1. So if I were to multiply that fraction together, this is really what I have. Root t cosine t plus sine t over 2 root t. Okay, look at that and see if you're okay with that step. So sine times 1 on top is just a sine. 2 root t times the 1 on the bottom is just a 2 root t. Everybody good to there? So the only thing that changed is what I'm circling in pink. I changed from that to that because I didn't want the sine and the 1/2 to be separate. I just want it to be all together. Good? Okay, from here, if this was free response, this answer up here would have given you full credit. But on the AP test, what makes multiple choice hard is they do weird stuff to try to make you have to think outside the box. So with a question like this, they would have gotten a common denominator. So look at your denominator on this guy. I need to also put it over here. If I'm going to put 2 root t on the bottom, where do I also have to put it? Okay, so here, I want you to put a 2 root t on the bottom and multiply by a 2 root t on the top. Now, when your denominators match, I can combine into one big fraction. So my denominator is going to be a 2 root t, and then across the top, what am I going to have? If it's 2 root t times another root t. Just look at this part. Root t times root t is t. 1 full t. So 2t cosine t plus sine t. Hopefully it's a sweet t. Yeah, get it? 1 sweet t. Actually, really, it's 2 t's. Okay, got it? Okay, but this and this, these are the same. The only reason that you would convert from here to here is if you were trying to match a multiple choice answer. If it was free response, that guy's good. All right, any questions about product rule? No? Yes?
You're saying, like, if I don't see that answer, like, if you're
Correct. Then you might have to get a common denominator to match it with this answer. But if it was free response, that's good enough, you leave it. Okay, ready to go on? Notes again? We are going to learn the quotient rule. Quotient rule. What is a quotient? Division. Okay, so I'm going to give you the formal definition of quotient rule. Then I'm going to give you the shortened version that we're going to do. So formal, if I have a function, f of x over g of x. Okay, the derivative is g of x, f prime of x, minus f of x, g prime of x. Over g of x squared. So this is like your formal one. Okay, but it has lots of x's and primes and stuff and parentheses, so we're going to shorten it to the fun version. Okay? It's going to be really fun. So, for your fun version, instead of calling them F and G, we're going to call it high and ho. So, high's on top, ho's on the bottom. Okay, ready? So, here's what it is. Ho d high minus high d ho over ho squared. No, it's more fun, and here's why. Look where the hoes end up, on the corners. Or they like to be on the bottom.
Oh my god! I know.
Hilarious. Oh, please. He is way more naughty than me. This is like mediocre naughty. Okay, so we're going to take a derivative with it. So easy. Okay, first thing you're going to do is label your high and your ho. So high is the top, ho is the bottom. So what's the top? Cosine x. What's ho? 4x. Okay, then d high and d ho are the derivatives of those guys. So d high is the derivative of cosine, which is negative sine x. And d ho is going to be the derivative of 4x. Just a 4. Because 4x derivative is just a 4. Good. Okay, from there, we need to take the derivative. So it's ho d high, that's this diagonal, minus high d ho is this diagonal. So here we go. dy dx equals, remember that means derivative. Ho d high is 4x times negative sine x minus, and then high d ho, the other ho should go at the end, so cosine x times 4. Okay, then over ho squared would be 4x squared. Make sense? Okay, so if this is a free response, that answer is perfectly good enough. Okay, full check. But if it's multiple choice, remember I told you if there's a GCF, they're going to pull it out. If there's some random thing they can cancel, they're going to make you do it. So look at the top. What can I pull out of the top as a GCF? A 4. Can I pull anything else out? They both have a negative. So I'm going to actually pull out a negative 4 from the top. What would be left over from 4x times negative sine x? X sine x, right? Okay, out of my cosine x times 4, I took the 4 out, I took the negative out. What's left over? A plus cosine x. And then on the bottom, if you had 4x squared, square that guy, what is it? 4x times 4x is 16x squared. Do you see what can cancel or reduce? The 4 and the 16. So if I think about 4 and 16, well 16 is 4 times 4. One of those 4s is going to cross out. So my final answer would be this would just go away. That would cross out and turn into a 4. So I would have x sine x plus cosine x divided by 4x squared, negative in the front.
What would happen to the negative?
The negative is just kind of like outside. It applies still to the front. And then y'all know that a negative on the top is the same as a negative in the front, which is the same as a negative on the bottom. So if there's a negative somewhere, you can always pull it out to the front as long as you GCF it correctly. Okay, so this would be like a multiple choice, what they would do. Okay? But if it's free response, you don't even waste your time with that. You just leave it alone and move on. Okay, good?
Yeah.
Okay. We have 4 left. We can do it. Yay, math. Okay, good?
Yeah.
All right. So that was 1. Here's number 2 for quotient rule. Your equation is going to be, right, the equation of the tangent line for y equals 4x minus 3 over 2x squared at x equals 1. Okay, what 2 pieces do you need for an equation of a tangent line?
Point and slope.
Point and a slope. To find the point, where do you plug in?
You plug in 1
To
to the
the original. Very good. So I'm plugging in a 1. So it's going to be 1 comma something. Then I'm going to plug in a 1 to my equation. So on the top, y of 1 equals, I have 4 times 1 minus 3. What's that on top? 4 times 1 is 4. 4 minus 3 is 1. On bottom, I have 2 times 1 squared.
2.
Just a 2. So my y value is a half. Okay, from there I have my point. I still need my slope. So, slope over here. I need to take the derivative. That's going to need quotient rule. Okay, QR, quotient rule. I'll write it out if you need me to. Quotient rule. Okay, so label your high and your ho. Okay, high is the top, so high is a 4x minus 3. Ho is on the bottom, so it's a 2x squared. And then I'm going to take the derivative of both of those, call it d high and d ho. Okay, so what's d high if the top is 4x minus 3?
4.
Just a 4. What's d ho?
4x.
4x. Okay, then remember, for your rule, it's ho d high minus high d ho. So, dy dx equals, or you could call it y prime if you like that better, doesn't matter. Okay, ho d high would be 2x squared times 4. What's that? 8x squared, good. Minus, then I need high d ho, so that'd be 4x minus 3 times 4x. Over, ho squared would be 2x squared squared. Now, let me point out to you that if you're plugging in a number, I would plug it in here. I wouldn't do any of that GCF crap, because you're more likely to make a mistake, and it doesn't really make it that much faster. So, that's dy dx. Now we're going to plug in x equals 1, because that's my x value. So, I would have 8 times 1 squared. What's that? 1 times 8 is 8. Minus. Okay, then I'm plugging in a 1 here.
Minus 1.
Okay, so 4 is 4 minus 3, that'd be 1 times. And then I have 4 times 1 there is 4.
Wait, Ms. Schroeder?
Yeah?
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So, the derivative of 4x minus 3 would be 4x?
It would just be 4.
Would be 4.
Because think about it, that's like an x to the 1. So I times the 1 down on the 4, and then I reduce x to a 0, because you have to take away 1 from the power. Does that make sense? So think about that's like a 4x to the 1. So I do 1 times 4 is 4, and then x goes down to a 0. Yeah? Okay, so I have 8 times 1 is 8. 4 minus 3 is 1 times 4 on top. On bottom, 2 times 1 is 2, but then I have to square it. So 2 squared on bottom is really a 4. 8 minus 4 is also 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So my slope is 1. So put your slope up here, and then we're going to write our equation of our tangent line. So y minus a half, slope of 1, x minus 1. That would be your tangent line. What would your perpendicular line be? So I'd have y minus a half. I'm flipping this guy. What is 1 if I flip it? Still 1, but negative. So it'd be negative 1, x minus 1. Remember, the only thing you change from a tangent to a perpendicular is the slope. Okay? All right, 2 more left. Are you dying?
Tuberculosis.
No! No one ended up getting it though, even with that kid. Ain't nobody got time for that. Have you seen that lady?
Bringing that back.
Oh yeah. Okay, 2 more.
Hey now. I
I'm
really
dying
bad.
on my Christian Minecraft server.
What?
I'm dying on my Christian Minecraft server.
I didn't even know there was one of those.
Wait, there's a Christian Minecraft server?
I tell you.
Of course I wouldn't know, because of course I'm not on it.
Yeah, I don't know that I did it.
Sure you're not. Sure.
That's what Callie does in her free time.
Oh yeah, I get on a Christian Minecraft server.
Alright, ready?
You're the kid that destroys everything.
2 more left. Okay, first we need a point. How do you find a point?
Plug it into the original.
Plug into the original. So I have y of 0 equals cosine 0 plus 1 over e to the 0. What's cosine 0?
1,
1. What's 1 plus 1?
2,
2. E to the 0 is a 1 again. 2 divided by 1 is... So my point is 0, comma 2. Everybody good so far?
Yeah.
Okay, from there we're taking the derivative. If it's a fraction, it will require quotient rule. So label your high and your ho. Okay, high is going to be cosine x plus 1. Ho is going to be e to the x. If high is cosine x plus 1, what is t high? Negative sine x. What about the plus 1? Constant. Derivative is 0. What's the ho? E to the x. Okay, then from there, ho d high minus high d ho over ho squared. So dy dx equals, or you could call it y prime if you like that better. Fine, same thing. Okay, so ho d high would be e to the x times minus sine x. I'm going to write it like that. Okay, I'm going to pull the negative to the front of the term. So it's minus e to the x and sine x minus, then I have a cosine x plus 1 and another e to the x over e to the x squared. Now, if this was multiple choice and you were matching, probably they'd pull an e to the x out and cancel it, but we're not doing that. We're plugging in a number. So, as we plug in a number, we'll call it y prime of 0 equals. What is the sign of 0 for this term right here? That whole thing is 0. So it's basically going to cross out. If you have a sign of 0, that cancels that part of the product out. Okay, so I just have a minus, 0 minus. Then e to the 0 here is a 1. Then what's cosine 0 plus 1? 2. Over e to the 0 on bottom is a 1 quantity squared. So my fraction on the top is a negative 1 times 2. That's a negative 2. 1 squared on bottom is a 1, so my slope is negative 2. So fill your slope in right here, then we're ready to write our equation of our tangent line. So it would be y minus 2. Slope is negative 2, x minus 0. Okay, also keep in mind, if you didn't want to write the 0, that's fine. You don't have to. It's up to you, but that's point slope form. Okay, what would be perpendicular to that?
1 minus 2 equals a half.
A half x minus 0. That would be perpendicular. Okay, one more left. The last one. Oh, we got plenty of time. You ready? We're going to take the derivative of tangent. Ooh, you're going to have a third trig derivative up your sleeve. May I turn it? Are we good? Okay. All right, last one. Derivative of tan x. This is number 4, right? Okay, now you might be wondering, why does the derivative of tan need quotient rule? Why does it need quotient rule? Because it's sine divided by cosine. Very good. Sine x divided by cosine x. So, here we go. Label the high, label the ho. What's the high? Sine x. What's the ho? Cosine x. Okay, take the derivative of both parts. So d high is the derivative of sine x. What's that? Okay, then d ho, what's the derivative of cosine x? Negative sine x. Okay, here we go. Remember, ho d high comes first. So I do cosine x times cosine x. So cosine x times cosine x minus. Then high d ho would be sine x times negative sine x over ho squared is cosine x squared. Good so far? Okay, what is cosine x times cosine x again? Now, are y'all used to seeing it like this, where the 2's kind of in like a funny spot? Okay, that's the same as cosine x squared, but usually, especially like moving on above to like college math and AP tests and stuff, they're going to write it like this. So if the 2 is like that, it's the same as this. So how would I write sine? I'd do sine squared x. Now, will I put a plus or a minus between those? Plus, because I have a negative here, and then I'm multiplying by a negative sign here, so that is now a plus. On the bottom, I have a cosine squared x. What? Let's see. That's special. What is it? It's 1. Good. Okay, cosine squared plus sine squared, that's one of your Pythagorean identities from pre-cal. That's a 1. And if it's 1 over cosine squared, what is 1 over cosine the same as? Secant. So it's equal to secant squared x. So you have a new rule. The derivative of tan is secant squared. So new rule. The derivative of tan x is secant squared x, or secant x squared. Okay, those are the same. They're different notations, but get used to the top one because that's how you're going to see it on the AP test. Okay? Good job. So good. Y'all have 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
So 10 or 11 or 2.
Yeah, and then don't forget, guys, Super Saturday. If you go to that, then you don't have to turn your homework. Yeah, that's what I meant. It's gonna be super though. You don't have to turn it in till Monday, especially if you're going to Super Saturday. You have an extra day.
Wait, so we only have homework 11 and homework 12?
10 also. There's a 10. 10 was your tangent lines when I was gone and you did the notes on the computer with the sub. So you have 10, 11, 12 won't be due till next Friday.
I wanted to turn this in the day of the
No. I mean, maybe you did. I don't think you did, though. Because it was passed out last week on Thursday when I was absent.
I was supposed to turn it on Friday.
Thank you.
I was like, I needed help on this question, but I came so then. So I forgot.
When? When did you come that I wasn't here?
Friday.
Friday? Friday morning? Oh, you're right. I think I wasn't here that day. Thank you, Steven. Or, Peter. Oh, you want me to call you Steven? Oh, haven't I been calling you Peter? But you didn't correct me, huh? Steven. Well, you know, it's first name, middle name, you know. Although I'll tell you, Steven, every adult I've met that goes by their middle name, they have felonies. Yes. It's a thing. Because they don't want you to Google them, like multiple boyfriends. That, like, I found out it wasn't their real name. Okay, we're using boyfriend loosely. Like, maybe you go on, like, 5 dates, and then you realize, like, you see their credit card that it's not their real first name. And then one of them I Googled.
Diddy. Is that one your mom Googled?
No, I Googled both of them, but one of them had, I need to stop.